So good morning everybody, and a very warm welcome to Mildenhall and Districts. And today I have a layout update for you, and it's basically calling all stations really, because that's where the majority of the work has been done. And also I've had a couple of new bits turn up for the layout, and I've also done some other bits and pieces around the layout. So all in all, it's been very busy, and a lot of progress has been made as per usual during this lockdown. And speaking of lockdown, I hope everybody is all fine and well. Me personally, I am, and I'm just getting on with the railway as per usual since we can't really do much else. So those of you who follow me on Facebook will know that I put up a couple of pictures, I think it was yesterday, of what I've been up to. And for those of you who don't sort of remember, basically a little while ago, I spoke to you about town scene bits and pieces, and these were, I got three sheets, 3 sheets at £3 per sheet. And they were big sheets, some of them. And I've managed to kind of whittle these sheets down because I've been getting on with Mildenhall Station and the town scene for that. So I'll be taking you over there very shortly. And these are kind of like the remnants of what I have left, and I'll explain to you what I'm planning to do with the remainder. Hopefully there'll be enough to go round, as I did get through quite a lot more than I expected, to be honest. Also, I've done a lot of work on Bullion Gardens, and for those of you who don't know what Bullion Gardens is, it's my Network South East corner station. And recently I got these prints made up, and I haven't had the chance to put them up yet, and the reason will become clear very shortly. Also, to go with Bullion Gardens, a little while ago I had bought this pack, which is the Capital Commuter Pack, and it's all about Network South East, and they would celebrated 30 years a couple of years back, I think, and Bachman had done a number of specials. I believe you can still actually buy this train pack for a very reasonable price, so if it's something you're interested in, I'd really would grab it with both hands, because you do get the train and the station building, which is on the layout, so I'll show you those on the layout. But on top of that, it comes in this really nice presentation box, and the station would be down here, the train pack would be here. But you also get some other little bits as well. You get a couple of black platform pieces with this pack, but I didn't need them, I didn't really use them. And you also get you get some postcards, which is quite nice. So you get that's a set. And there you go. That's another set. So it's a 423 and a 421, and the 421 is slightly different. I think they call it a BIG. This is what you call a multiple unit, and I think this would be one of the 108s. So that's that one there. You get a 442 Wessex electric, which is a really cool one. I like that one. It's probably my favourite out of all the postcards. And they call it 455, which I've travelled on many of these over the years. So you get these little postcards that come with it. So it's a nice little touch. And you also get, bear with me a minute if I just put these postcards back. See, it's always easier to get them out than to put them back in. It's always the way. Always I'm struggling putting them back. And you also get this little travel card pass as well. And apparently it was issued to Mr. F. Hornby. So it's quite funny, really. And this is actually a Bachman product, not a Hornby product, so kind of a bit strange, but hey. So yeah, so you get this train pack, and I've been putting it to good use, which I'm going to show you at Bullion Gardens. I think that's where we're going first. So let me take you to Bullion Gardens. So see you on the other side. Toodaloo. So here is an overall view of Bullion Gardens station. And it's, like I said, it's set in the Network South East period. The Art Deco low relief building, which is right over there, that comes as part of the Capital Commuter Pack. And the EMU that comes with that Capital Commuter Pack is just over here. This little 2-car 416 EPB. Just get it into shot. Now, there's a lot to cover on this bit because a lot's been done. Basically, you can probably see that my footbridge has now arrived. So that's now turned up, and that's something that's a lot more suitable than my other footbridge. One of the other things I've really been going to town with is the majority of the layout has now received, and I'm going to try and see if I can zoom you in, the speed restriction signs here. There's one there, and all around the layout I have gone around the majority of the layout. I think there's about 5% of the layout that hasn't been covered by speed restriction signs, and there might be some that I've missed. So I've still got some testing to do in terms of just seeing where I have to put the additional speed restrictions. So this is something else that's been going on. Whilst we're in this zoomed in kind of view, I've also been tediously doing the cable trunking, and I've done that virtually all the way around. It's not there yet. I haven't made it to Mildenhall station yet. The reason being is because I was working on Mildenhall station, so now I've kind of more or less done that. I can then start planning the cable trunking route around Mildenhall station. Now, in that sense, we're still in this zoomed in position. One of the other things, one of the jobs I did do today was do the, where's my finger gone? Oh, there it is. I've been doing all the white edging all the way around on both platforms, platform 1 and 2. I've also, like I said, added some patchwork to the platforms. I've also, like I said, built and painted up the footbridge, and it looks rather dirty and very grubby. And this is basically this is the look I'm going for. It's just a suburban station, Network South East, typical suburban station, which pretty much isn't really looked after or well kept. So that's kind of the look that I was kind of going for. So that's why it's supposed to be pretty grubby. So I'm going to take you around the other side so you can see a bit more. So on platform 2, which is that one over there, you may have noticed that I've put concrete fencing on this side as well. I did have brickwork before, and in fact there's still some brickwork at the far end here, which I'm going to disguise or get rid of. One of the two, I'm not sure yet. And I decided to put concrete fencing, making it myself in the same manner as I did on platform 1. And basically because I felt that it looked more unified, and otherwise I felt it just looked a bit odd with having brickwork on one side and concrete walling on the other side. So I decided to unify it, make them both the same. Also, you can see I've done some more patchwork to the railway. I've also added the white line all the way around. So slowly but surely we're getting there. So the next thing to do will be to put the posters up, the lamp posts, and then I can get, like I said, the Bullion Gardens signage up as well, which is something else I'm going to be doing. Now, if I just zoom you in to the far end, I'm just going to, there you go, see if that comes out. It might be a bit, but there's some more evidence down the end there of some speed restriction signs, just down here and some more down there. So I've been going around the layout, just trying to work out what the speed restrictions would be and how they work on the railways. I'm pretty certain I've got a good understanding of it, so I'm pretty certain I'm pretty right. But I wouldn't say I was 100% right, but it's good enough for me. Something else I failed to mention on my last update was that I changed the configuration of the track at this end, because before this side in here was on the other side, and I've swapped those two out. And the reason for it is to try and get a longer siding along here. I was hoping to be able, because before it could only take 2 cars, I was hoping it could take 4, but it can't. It can take 3, so at least I can put a 3-car unit in there. So I'm pretty pleased with that, because at least I've got a bit of an extension on the siding. And basically I've just slightly kinked the track around the outside there and then brought it back in. So as we head towards Mildenhall station, one of the changes, well, there's an obvious change that you can see, but sticking with the track work for the moment, one of the changes I've done is I've just added this point here, and this point will access the new platform 5, which was platform 4, and so that is now been added in, so you can access platform 5. I'm also going to get some point work here, so I can get the train from platform 5 on the right line by putting a crossover here. So I'm going to get a couple of left-hand points, so I can get the train over from the far side onto the right line. So I'm going to be doing that at some point when I can get hold of it. As you can see, as we start moving in towards the station, I'm just going to zoom you in a bit. I've started going through some of the paper buildings that I got from Town Scene. So I've started adding them in. It's been a bit tricky, to say the least, because I've had to, because I kind of made a bit of a boo-boo on it, and I've got away with it, and I've now fitted in a custom piece. So it's all been a bit tricky. The tricky bit comes in the sense that these backboards here are still removable, and so these Metcalfe walls have to line up correctly and trying to disguise the joins so you don't see them, and to marry up with the joins of the actual board that they're stuck to, so I can remove them. Now I should say the walling was kindly given to me by Rachel over at Wistanton Junction, Mini Wistanton Junction. Some of the pieces needed some TLC, quite a few actually, but I was prepared for this, so I did buy some additional stone paper from the local model shop before this all kicked off in any case. And basically any bits that were untidy, I've just basically repapered it and tidied it all up. And then the back scenes have all come from Town Scene, from the 4 sheets that I've bought. Sorry, the 3 sheets that I bought. Now, what I've had to do is, firstly, I've had to stick the walling, the Metcalfe wall, onto the backboard, and I will take you, actually I can just about show you, basically right in the far right hand corner, you can see there's the line of the board there, and you can see where I've basically tried to marry up that join, the Metcalfe wall, to that join, so you don't actually notice the join from the bottom. It just looks like one continuous run, but then it just means that I've had to fit everything else in along the way to marry up with all the other joins. And as you can see at this end, the ramp actually slightly overhangs, but that end bit there isn't actually glued. The rest of it is there all the way up to the top where it finished, where that ramp finishes, but this part of the ramp isn't glued, so I can still slot it in front of the other board which is next to it. So that was like the first headache that I've had to overcome. So the next headache is basically getting these walls and doing the measurements for them, because they're sitting on top of the platform. And what happened was, actually, if I just bear with me a minute. Now, just behind the signal box, you can probably see where where the walling has to be stepped down, and it has to sort of cover this gap and cover the gap of the ramp as it comes down to meet the ground. So I've had to get the angles right for that. Now, as you can see, like I said, I made a bit of a boo-boo with it, because when I put it up as a test fit, I realised that the wall was too far over, and that this ramp here, was going to come right over onto the main platform, and I had to work out why. And I realised that the spare piece, which I thought I didn't need, was needed, and then on top of that, I had to make this custom piece here in the middle to blend it in with the rest of it to get the right distances, so it would all fit properly. Gladly, I managed to realise my mistake in time, and I managed to make that additional custom piece to fit that in and blend it in with the rest of it, so now it fits nicely now. Now, when it came to the back scene itself, that posed another headache, because I sort of had a picture in my mind of how I wanted to do it, but I wasn't quite sure how I was going to execute it. And I bought about I bought 3 sheets, and I also had a little bit left over from the other sheet that I had. And it was a case of creating a bit of a jigsaw puzzle to try and work out how it's all going to fit. So I wasn't quite sure how it's all going to fit together. So now I've got the walling right, I just now had to marry up the whole back scene and blend it all in somehow. And I wasn't sure what buildings I was going to use and how I was going to use it, and whether or not the, I think that's the town hall, was going to go where it is, or whether it's going to go further to the left or further to the right. In hindsight, I would have moved the main building here to the right over. And the reason for that is because over here, where those flats are, get my finger down, there's 1, 2, I've actually got a third one, and if I put the third one in, I could have shunted all of that to the right, and then basically where this building here finishes, it would have been further over. But I'm really pleased with how it's come out. Like I said, it did take some working out as to what I wanted to do. So basically I laid the backboards flat on my bedroom floor, and I'd cut out the buildings not intently like to the lines, only on the sides, and then the tops I trimmed off later, because I just wanted to see how the buildings would fit side by side together. So I only trimmed them properly on the sides, and then I sort of put them together and see what would work and what would fit. So I come up with this arrangement, which I think works really, really lovely, and I'm really, really pleased with that, because I think it's come out really, really well. And as I spin you around, as we go over here, the plan is to basically bend this ramp around and bring a downhill slope, and also have that corner, this corner, at an angle, so it's not flat, so I can hide the switch for the boiler, which is there, and I can't get past that. So the idea is to hide it by putting a piece at an angle, 45-degree angle. So, and hopefully then it will blend into what I have going on here. And it may very well be that if this guy actually gets around to it, he might actually finish demolishing this warehouse, so I could put some more of the other buildings up, but we shall see whether he gets around to finishing it on time or not. But so far, like I said, I'm really pleased with the progress. Like I said, I do need some more mount board, so I can create the ramp and create this corner section, but that I think will be a job for next week. I think this weekend I'm going to try and concentrate on finishing Bullion Gardens station as best as I can. So just before we shoot off, here is something new for the layout. Now, I think it's a couple of videos ago now, I put up a video of not a cab ride, but a ride around the layout behind Z66, which is over there. And I was using one of those little kind of little portable cameras, and it was one of these that was recommended. I don't know if I can see it. There you go. It's one of these little SQ ones from eBay, and it was really cheap, but it was cheap for a reason. Apparently it does do 1080p and 720p, but to be honest with you, judging by the footage, which I already sort of knew already, it's more like 480p. I wasn't really happy. Now, this Polaroid cube, I've had one before, and it was a black one, and it was a Wi-Fi one. This one isn't Wi-Fi. I've tried to get a Wi-Fi one. I can't find the Wi-Fi one anywhere. However, I know it does take good footage, which is why I bought another one, because I was really happy with the resolution that I got previously when I was recording with the other one. So this one's actually slightly cheaper because of the fact it isn't Wi-Fi. Hopefully it's going to be more reliable than the other one. But if you see any of these ones on eBay, to be honest with you, I'd stay well clear of them. They do a job and they're okay to a point, but you're not going to get the clarity as you saw on my 395 clips that I used with it, as well as the cab ride. It works, but the quality isn't the best. So I've now got this camera now. So I'll be looking out for another cab ride, but this time out of the view, out of this camera, and hopefully you'll get a different view of Mildenhall and Districts. So that's it from me for today. Like I said, another load has been completed, and I'm sure I'm going to get through a lot more before I'm due back to work. I'm hoping, like I said, to get through and finish Bullion Gardens station itself. Obviously, and then hope maybe if I can get the track work, the point work, I'll probably do the point work as well over at that end. And also one of the last jobs before I go back to work is I want to try and finish off this corner here, which I've just showed you, to complete the sort of background all the way around the layout really. So until the next time is probably, I'm going to try and do either a running session or a cab ride with the little cube, and no doubt there'll be a lot more progress done in the meantime. So until the next time, it's bye from me. Take care. Bye bye.